A plane crashes. Two strangers survive. What kills faster, nature or the fear of being alone together? When a severe snowstorm stops all commercial flights, photojournalist Sandra Bosch, trying to get to her own wedding, and neurosurgeon Mark Bass, heading for a complicated operation, decide to charter a small private jet. But while flying over the Rocky Mountains, the pilot suddenly suffers a stroke. The plane crashes into the snow-capped mountains. The pilot dies instantly. Sandra is seriously injured. Mark survives, alone, with only a backpack. No one knows where they are. The pilot did not report their flight. There is no phone signal, no flares, and no path to follow. Mark wants to wait, hoping that someone will find them. But the days go by. It gets colder. Food runs out. Sandra, despite her injury, is full of strength and tells him that they have to go or they will freeze to death. To hit the road. Mark builds a sled and takes Sandra through the mountains. They encounter wild animals, frozen lakes, and terrible snowstorms. As they travel, they begin to talk and trust each other. Sandra is brave and acts quickly. Mark is quiet, still suffering from the death of his wife. One day, Mark falls through the ice and almost dies. Sandra pulls him out, crying next to him in the snow. She knows that they will not survive if they do not trust each other more. Time passes. They find an old, empty cabin. It is a brief moment of warmth and safety. In the silence, something changes. They kiss. It is not only about surviving, but also about finally being seen and loved when everything else is lost. But the mountain does not stop them. They leave the cabin and continue on. Sandra's leg hurts more and more. Mark carries her through the snow. They are tired, cold, and almost unable to go on. See smoke rising in the distance, thin, like a ray of hope in the sky. Gathering their last strength, they walk towards it. They find an old logging camp. A worker notices them and calls for help. Rescuers arrive by helicopter. They wrap them in blankets, give them water and medicine. After weeks in the mountains, they are finally safe. Back to the real world. Warm rooms, clean clothes, city noise. Everything should be back to normal. Sandra returns to her boyfriend. Mark saves lives again, but something has changed. The silence of the mountains still lives in them. Reason to live, they try to forget, but they can't. A few months later, in the city centre, far from the snow and fear, they meet again by chance. They just look at each other, quiet, grateful, unfinished. No need for big words or dramatic moments. Perhaps they found not just a way to survive, but a reason to live.